Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Mike Wittenstein, founder of Storyminers, a consulting firm that helps companies craft compelling business stories to align strategy, culture, and customer experience. With decades of experience in brand storytelling, innovation, and customer journey design, Mike has worked with brands in over 100 cities across 25 countries, including giants like IBM, Holiday, and AT&T. Through Storyminers, he helps companies not just tell better stories, but use them to drive measurable growth, alignment, and transformation.
Wow,
Mike.
was that really me? Are you sure that was my
I think
bio?
so. I
Yes.
think so. It's there's a Mike Wittenstein out there that's doing all that stuff. I hope I got the right guy. I am excited to dive in. I appreciate you for coming
Sure.
and coming onto the podcast. I always like to start from the beginning. So take us on a trip down memory lane. Before you started Story Miners, what were you doing at that time? And then what was really the motivation behind starting the company?
All right. Right before Storyminers, I was e-visionary for IBM. And in
Mm,
that role, I worked in a consulting practice. I helped internally on process and innovation, and I was a spokesperson for the company.
mm,
I introduced IBM to some of its own internal thought leadership around adaptive enterprise, which is a way of thinking about a huge business or a collection, an ecosystem, as a single system. If you do that, you're able to create connections and add value much more quickly and with greater sustainability. And we did that in a number of different companies. I also learned while I was at IBM about customer experience design. My first mentor was Lou Carbone. He's still working in a company called Experience Engineering. And the first project that I sold for IBM was for McDonald's. We did their digital drive-through. When the dot boom became the dot bust, it was time to go out on my own. And after the hardest year of my life looking for work in an overcrowded, yucky market, what we have right now, a colleague and I started Storyminers.
mm. What was the motivation behind starting the company? What made you decide to
Eating.
go this
It
route?
was eating.
Eating?
Eating. We needed money. It was like,
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Fair
I'm
enough.
trying
But
to be
I'm
very
just,
transparent today.
yeah, I appreciate that. But I'm curious the premise of storytelling. What made you decide to
Sure.
go with that route?
Okay. So for the longest time, even before IBM, when I ran a digital agency in Atlanta for a number of years with my partner, Jackie Goldstein, and even before that, I saw how hard it was for companies to have their ideas become real. And that
Mm,
just got under my skin. There are so many blockers to having an idea and seeing it made real. So what I've learned about stories over the years is that they're the other side of your experience. But stories have a way of getting not only into your mind, but into your eyes, your ears, your heart. It's very sensorial. And it gives you the opportunity to create a set of given circumstances about the future and then let people live inside of it. So instead of presenting strategy as, a document that's thicker and more expensive, you can let people step into the strategy and imagine themselves in it. It's just a different way of introducing people to the idea of what's next so that they
mm.
can collaborate rather than resist. That's the thing I've been on for a long time. And I'm so excited when we get to the latter part of the interview, we'll talk about how we're innovating on that notion.
Yeah, very interesting. So let's fast forward a little bit to give the listeners more context into your business today. Who would you say your ideal client is, your ICP? And then what
Sure.
are the different offers and services that you provide?
Right now, we're aiming for C-suite leaders, business unit operators, if you will, general managers, and sometimes what are called managing directors. That term is usually applied to a foreign-owned firm's local leader. The services that we offer are just two. We offer a strategy slash story sprint that can last 1 to 2 months. The schedule's up to the clients, how quickly they can fit things in, and executive advisory work that's aimed at high growth consulting for 6 months or more. The first one usually tackles one big pivot. The second one, the 6-month engagement or longer, tackles multiple big initiatives and the coordination and alignment of all of that.
Got it. I love how simple it is. And yeah, how
I'm
straightforward.
glad I'm glad we did not have this interview 2 weeks ago. So much has happened.
Yeah, really. You had more services before that?
Oh my God. I had a conversation with a colleague and it just whacked me on the side of the head. She said, Mike, this is all such cool stuff. I love your ideas. But if you could just make it simple for people, they would buy you more. So why don't
Yeah.
you just say you're an executive coach, even though you don't like that description that much? Because I don't think that that captures the essence of what I do. But people have the little cubby hole in their brain for it, or a Yellow Pages listing for those that are old enough to remember Yellow Pages. And it makes it easier for the conversation to flow. So I just
Yeah.
have to trust a little bit that
Yeah.
I can steer from there.
For sure. 1000%. I like that it's simple to the point, people can understand it. What was the catalyst behind you refining your offers a couple of weeks ago?
Finding product market fit. I had at least 100 conversations with people in my target market or referrers to them who are also mostly business people. So attorneys, accountants, all different kinds of folks that work in business. But since I want to work with the C-suite, the business unit managers, and so on, I just lost my train of thought. That's terrible to do on a podcast.
It's all
Once I
good.
did my 100 interviews, I was getting a lot of affirmation, but I wasn't getting traction. Now, I wasn't doing a lot of marketing, and I know we're going to talk about that as well. It was mostly word of mouth stuff. So the
Mm,
only thing I could figure out was the problem was me. The
yeah.
ideas are sound. The market is the market. People have more needs now than they ever have before. It is a target rich environment and it's attention deprived. There's not enough energy, not enough oxygen to get your message across. Everyone is overwhelmed with stuff. The
Yeah.
competition comes from the television. I had a new watch to measure some vitals for my health. And I drive by a Taco Bell and my watch bings and it's a Taco Bell ad. That's crazy.
That's crazy. What kind of watch is that?
It's a low end Garmin. It's got a heart rate thingy in it. It helps me measure my
Crazy that
sleep.
they
That's
have
what I'm trying to do.
ads.
Well, it's attached to my phone and I haven't yet gone
Yeah.
in to do all the settings. So I'm sure I can turn it off. I
And
do
I'm
not
still,
want more food while I'm driving.
I get what you mean though. The
So it's
parameters.
just so hard to get, yeah, to get the word through. So I needed something that was going to be simpler, if that makes sense.
Got it. So you've
Yeah.
got the strategy and story sprint 1 to 2 months, the executive advisory, that's 6 months. Can you briefly give us an explanation of some of the strategies and principles that you help companies implement in their businesses around storytelling?
Yeah. I'm going to reframe the question. Is that okay?
That's perfectly fine.
All right. In every engagement, there's a really big pivot that lets everything free. In your personal life, there's usually something I realized I was the problem, and then things free up. Whenever you're doing work with a client about the future, I know going in that they're going to have to discard some of their ideas about the way they think the future is going to be.
Mm,
Truth of the matter is, there are no more single company strategies to be had. If you think only about your own company, you can't make it in the world that's coming. It's got to be an ecosystem play. You've got to think about your partners, your client, your employees, your vendors. If you don't think of all of that with your strategy, it's just not going to work as well as you want it to. People are interested in more integrated approaches. At least that's the trend that I'm seeing. So each client has a pivot in understanding, and I can take you through a couple of those. One of them was for a company called, this is very industrial, meat and potatoes kind of company called Mayer America, Maier. And they make a very specialized manufacturing product for production lines called a rotary joint. The
mm,
details of this are boring, but basically, if you're extruding some kind of chemical, it keeps the pressure and the temperature constant, like the backing of carpet, stuff like that. So this really
yeah,
boring stuff. Their products are all about pressure. And the thinking in the company was all about how great the products managed pressure. So all their stats were about how consistent the flow was and how consistent the temperature was and all that kind of stuff. After working with them for a couple of months on a variety of issues, we landed on the notion that the company needs a new marching order. And
Mhm.
the idea came up that why don't we keep the pressure in the systems, but take it off the people? So they became the easy to work with, the quick to
Mhm.
repair, the multiple kinds of financing, all those different kinds of things. And now they're all about reducing entropy in the business as well
Yeah,
as in the products. And that just lit things up. Does that make sense?
a little bit.
Very good. All right. So when you have a new, thanks for answering honestly. When you have a new reason for being or a new North Star mission statement, it forces you to think about things a little differently.
Yeah.
So where before Meyer was mostly concerned about how efficiently its products worked, that
Mm.
left a lot of stuff on the table to also add value with. They added value by returning calls faster, by doing predictive maintenance with electronics that were embedded into their products. They made it easier for their clients to get things fixed and repaired, and they helped lines recover from breakdowns or not even break down. Because when one part in the manufacturing line stops, the whole thing stops, and that's very
Yeah.
expensive. So they just changed their internal focus to creating more customer value, not necessarily more engineering value. So that's just that little shift. It's not that they're creating less engineering value, but when they started to emphasize the people more,
Yeah.
the humans started to respond.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for
Um,
every engagement, there's one of those.
for sure. I can see how that's powerful in both the employees and the customers alike to enrich the culture even deeper. Let's get
Absolutely.
a little bit over to the back end. When it comes to lead generation, marketing, acquiring more customers, what does that process look like for you? What kind of channels are you leveraging at the moment?
Yeah. That's an embarrassing question for you to ask. So thank you very much for exposing my weakness publicly. Appreciate
Okay.
it. I used to be this marketing maven with all the coolest stuff. I taught marketing to others. It's been just hard. I'm very frustrated by how people market to me, and they just like pitch slap me all the time. And I get all these unwanted ads, like we talked about on my watch. And I don't want to be that guy in public. So right now, what I'm doing, especially with these new offers, is I'm leaning in on my network, which is
Got it.
substantial compared to others. It's very authentic. It's well curated.
Yeah,
And I'm going after referrals. Referrals and demonstrations have been the source of 90 to 95% of my business over the last 25 years. I know every account and where it came from. And unfortunately, that's the business I'm in. I don't believe I'm in a business that can scale its marketing up that much because most offers are commoditized, if that makes sense. We can talk about that in more detail if you want.
commoditized or productized?
A little bit of both, because when you introduce whatever you do as a product, so it fits into this like marketing flow, if you will, it is seen as replaceable, as substitutable, as a thing. And what I'm offering, especially through executive coaching, is more of an experience. It's a transformative experience for the leader that I work with and through them to the people in their organization. And it's not putting $1 in a Coke machine and getting a drink out or buying a piece of gum from a vending machine, something like that. So
Correct.
I've hesitated to go down the path of meeting 100 people so that I can sell a client. It's tough. So I have a lot to learn from you guys, and I'm sure later in this conversation or afterward, you'll have some ideas for me. And I'm very open to hearing what those are because I'm just very basic and I have failed a lot in
Yeah.
the last few years.
There's a lot of things that I would love to share with you because we've worked with many executive coaches in the past. One thing that I will say for the listeners right now, something specific that we tactically implement is I love what you're saying. You definitely do not want to be a commodity. You want to be competing in a one of one category where the way that you package your offer, which is why I was so happy when you made it so simple.
Mhm.
Thank God somebody gets it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people just come in and they have a billion different services. And I'm like, it's very difficult to scale a business in that capacity, especially if you're just one person right now.
Mhm.
But once you have the offer dialed in, and a great book for this is $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozy. I'm actually rereading it right now into how to create a grand slam offer that people just want to. It's so good that people feel stupid saying no. But essentially, a big part of dialing in marketing is dialing in the messaging, and we use something called the 3S formula, which is solving a specific problem for a specific person in a specific way. So specific problem, specific person, specific way. And when you have those avatars dialed in, then you can curate your copy to talk to that individual person and curate the ads, the messaging, the outreach, whatever. But it's all centered around that. And then it resonates with them instantly. And because of the specificity, you're inherently not commoditized because you
Mhm.
also have a specific way that helps with them that nobody else has in your own unique little mic spin to it, right?
Yeah,
But I don't want to get too bogged down with that because I still want to dive in on you. I
sure.
appreciate you being open and honest with the lead gen though. Now, walk me through briefly the sales process. So once a lead does come in through the door, what are the different steps that they go through for them to become a client?
Sure. First, they send me a check and then we talk. It's
Awesome.
really easy. I'm kidding. Oh, wouldn't it be nice if it were that way?
I know.
Okay, usually I've got a warm referral in, and people have checked me out lately,
Mm,
wherever they want to go. So that means my presence has to be strong on LinkedIn, a little bit of social support, a document or two that they can get their hands on. So what I've produced in the last few days as I've been going over this new twist is I've got a one-page overview of me and what I can do for them.
mm,
I've got a 10-page deck with no more than 10 words on each page. It hasn't gone to
yeah.
graphics yet. And I've created a written story. So if you've ever seen what a script for a movie or a theater show looks like, it will
Mm,
be produced like that. And
mm,
it starts off, all right, the phone rings. It's your board member. They're asking for clarity again. It just puts you right in front and center in the interaction. So using that kind of a story, I'm demonstrating the power of story to put people into a situation that they can fully experience and giving them a sense of what it will feel like to be working with me and to manage their teams after that. So those are my three key pieces. And I've generated also, don't you love ChatGPT? This world is so fast now. Several different little I don't know what they're called, carousels or multi-screen presentations or something like that. And I know I need to do a little bit of video as well. So I've got those pieces and my referrer, and I also wrote a referrer kit that explains how to use it, what I do, what I'm shooting for, all that stuff.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
yeah.
Very cool.
So the referrer gets that, and then they make some introductions to me, and they'll tell me in their email because it's all written out what to do. I'm sending you this. I'm introducing Mike because of blah blah blah, and then I'll reach out to say hi within 24 hours and send a calendar link. Hopefully they'll click on it because hopefully they're serious. If not, I'll do a little follow up or I'll make a telephone call or something like that. And when they come in, the first conversation is set up to be a free working call. I
Gotcha.
call it a chemistry check. So it's defined with a nice little few words. And they get a chance to learn about me. I hear about them. But before the 30-minute call is over, we're working on their issues. And I can start to
Wow.
frame up an approach. Like, I think this is service A or service B, or these are the three angles that we need to talk about. Or are you happy if you get this, that, and the other? And of course, then if they say yes, then they get a little simple proposal. We walk it through. I always walk clients through proposals. Oh my God, how much pain and suffering has that saved everyone? You read it like a table read. You just read every single line together, except for the legalese part. And you just make sure that you're truly understanding. And one other thing I do on my agreements, this is a hint for everybody to try. I love it. I've been doing it for years, is to add to your agreement a learning outcome. So
Mm,
in addition to whatever you're contracting for, you ask your client, what else do you guys need to know? And they'll go, huh? And you say, we're going to be working a lot with AI on this assignment, so I'm happy to work with a couple of your folks and bring them up to my speed. Oh,
wow.
I'd really like that. But you also get them helping you. So you're just starting to build this team for whatever
Oh,
implementation is.
I
And
didn't even realize that. That's smart.
yeah. And then I learned that's not all of it. I get to learn something from them. So they
Mm,
have to put something on the table too. And that might mean I get to do a couple of interviews or a plant tour, or they'll make some introductions for me or give me some feedback on something. But the learning has to go it's back in not quid pro quo, but it goes bi-directionally. And
yeah,
that creates a different feel in the engagement. It's not just about the money and the deliverables and the time. It's about people.
yeah.
It's like, this is my commitment to you. I want you to learn. I want to help you grow. I'm lifting, and I need your help too. And that just builds so much trust. And when difficulties come, and every engagement has difficulties, there's another person on the side of the on
Yeah,
your side that you can talk to.
100%. I like that. I like a lot of what you just said. And specifically, you created an SOP around people referring you leads.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you. I found that super interesting. You're the first person. There's a lot of companies that I talk to that rely on referrals, and you're the first person that actually created an SOP for that, like for them
Yeah.
to use it. And I think that's a very smart thing for people to implement because obviously it's a big part of business. And if you can increase referrals, it's very nice.
And for me, as somebody who's already built a number of relationships, it's really fun to just be in touch with people. It doesn't feel like sales to me.
Yeah.
So I like
Fair.
that part. Maybe you can help me automate that too.
Yeah, 100%. What looking ahead into the future and you think about your vision
That's
for
my favorite place to look, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you.
yeah. No, me too. Me too. I'm the same way. When you think about your vision, where you want to take the company, and really what you're looking to accomplish, let's say over the next 12 months, are there any specific revenue targets, performance targets, or anything that just comes to mind? Paint me
Yeah.
that picture.
12 months for me isn't what I would consider. I will answer your question, but I want to go over here first and then I'll come back.
Yeah.
12 months for me isn't really the future. When I think about the future, I think about things that require lots of effort,
Mm,
will make a really big difference, and aren't easy to do. Tomorrow, temporarily speaking, is the future, but really, what can you do between today and tomorrow? It's just the delta's not that big. So for me, I see a real opportunity for my style of work and my personality and the needs in the world right now to add automation with quality to the creative side, the front end of strategy,
mm,
because most strategy is done by looking at past numbers and, of course, a lot of questions, but it's all, I don't want to use generalizations. Much of it is extrapolation based. You know
yeah.
what I mean? People are looking for proof
Elaborate.
because they want confidence and they're afraid of the future. Again, generalizations. There's a lot of fear about the future. So obviously, people are going to look for comfort that the choices they make, the bigger the choice, the more comfort they need, are going to work out well. And I think that approach has pretty much run its course because now we have more companies, and this is my opinion, more companies that are reinventing than are continuing with AI, with geopolitics, with
Mm,
climate change, with any other number of huge machinations that change the world that we live in. Everyone's reinventing.
yeah.
So my belief is that leaders, especially the ones that I'm targeting, can no longer command new numbers. They have to architect the future. So here's the answer to your question. I'm looking at ways to use AI to make the front end of strategy consulting more
Mm,
visual, more punctual, more livable, more breathable, more whatever-able, so that people can see it faster. There's no need to do a presentation, a volume like this with a presentation deck, and then spread it between different departments, throw it over the wall, let somebody else execute it. 75% failure rate. It's been that way for over 25 years.
yeah.
So we need a
Very
better
interesting.
way to create alignment right from the start. So that's what I'm
Mm.
focused on.
And is that what does that look like practically? Is that creating your own tool? Is that using the tools that are already available and combining them in a particularly unique way? What does that look like?
I think we live in it's the latter. It's using stuff that's out there and combining it in a way that produces those pivots, those insights very quickly, and then lets you paint a more vivid picture with
Yeah.
higher fidelity. The cool thing about working with AI today, and I did my first end-to-end AI assignment, AI empowered assignment, which I finished last month. It taught me so much. What I learned is that with the same amount of effort and resource, using AI, I got about 5 times more iterations out in the same time and effort and
Mhm.
cost, which means that the deliverable for the client is not version 1 of their business plan, but version 5. And that's what we came out with at the end of the engagement. And for me, that was like, oh my God, I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have a hard stop, by the way, or no?
No, we can go until 2 o'clock tomorrow. Go ahead.
Perfect. So interesting. I'm curious what tools you used for that when you're creating that end to end with the client. But some, because I've been learning a lot of AI automation recently, and I'm learning make.com and I'm learning N8N. Those two are the platforms that I'm focused on. So I'm curious for you, what are some tools you,
Neither of those, because
okay?
you can't automate creativity. It's
Hmm.
different every time. You can bring up frameworks and questions and things like that, but pretty soon it's vanilla. It's
Yeah.
understandable to me that most of the effort in AI right now, at least in the business world, is about reducing repetitiveness. It's just like robots. It's reducing the repetitiveness, reducing the cost, doing things faster. But what the world needs right now, especially at the senior strategy levels, is not to do the same thing better. It's to do the right thing sooner.
Mm,
And what are the tools? What are the insights? What is the way of communicating with people that will give them those whacks on the side of the head, a chance to look around and be in the strategy of the future to gain the confidence to do something really different. So
yeah.
that's not about using N8N and just, of course you can do that if you're trying to build a dossier or if 100 people answer a survey and you're trying to, of course, to do all of those things. But when
But
it
it's
comes to
not
the,
creative work.
yeah, the creative stuff needs to, I really see what I do as a performance. It's a live performance that offers transformative value. And it's when you're in the room with me that those ideas spark, that one question makes somebody think of something new, or there's a pivot that happens. And it's not a whiteboard diagram, it's a moment in the room. And everybody gets it. And that's what brings it all together. That's not AI-able yet.
Yeah.
So
Yet.
all the things that support me in being creative, in painting those better pictures and take painting very literally, okay, like drawing what we're saying in real time. I'm very interested in those kinds of things.
Very cool. What an exciting time we live in.
It's amazing. There's
It is
so
so
much opportunity. I'm going to go out on a limb here and talk to the stress that so many people are feeling with so much change in the world. Is that okay?
Please go for it.
Yeah. So in our country, in the United States, and in a number of others around the world, there's a lot of what I call breaking and taking. It's the privatization of public assets. Okay. Happened in the Soviet Union a long time ago. It's happened in China, I believe. I saw it happen in Brazil, and then it stopped happening, and then it's starting again. It's crazy. So that's keep that thought in mind. The second thought is that for the longest time, this is decades, the size of the hammers and the tools that we use do not match the size of the nails that we're trying to drive in. In other
Mm,
words, many of the institutions that we've created for over 100 years have just been hacked. They're like COBOL. They're just like a little bit more COBOL because we don't want to redesign anything. And they're unable to address problems of the size that we have or
mm,
opportunities with the potential that we see. So what I think is going to happen is people like you and me and people that are listening to this podcast are going to realize nobody's going to make what we need. I have to do it. We
yeah.
have to do it at a community level. And I'm enthralled by that. I'm so excited by that because so many organizations have gone from nothing to outer space in no time. Like literally, I can't remember the name, but a rocket company started like 4 years ago and it's already in space. NASA
Crazy.
took 20
So
years to
you
do
are
it.
literal with the outer space reference.
I'm not kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's so much that needs to be made for the world. And
Mm,
we need to really hunker down on our design principles. We need to put humans first. We need to create value for those we serve, not take it. So
mm,
much of our infrastructure is about taking value from other people. And I put advertising in that category. That we need to figure out how do we actually measure customer value, not in terms of their lifetime value to me as a company, but what value are we creating for them? I've always thought that ads should be something that people respond to with their needs.
yeah.
Like here's an ad for a lawnmower. Great. My yard is gently sloping, a quarter acre, blah, blah, blah. I'm interested in electric. And then have
Yeah.
the ad go do the work for you. But we don't do that. We just give people 10,000 ads for 50,000 things they don't need. That's not value creation.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know, that's when you use somebody's labor without their permission. That's not nice.
Yeah.
So those kinds of principles, and I hope I'm not getting too political or whatever, but those kinds of principles, that this new group of builders, I think the
Yeah.
ones listening to this need to get under, I hope they will take them under their skin and build very ethically and
Mm,
try to make the world more collaborative, more human first, smarter, create experiences for people, give them the connections that they need to thrive, to grow, to be happy, to flourish, to transform. That,
yeah.
that's that's what improving humanity is all about.
Yeah, I love the lifetime value piece comment that you made because I've always thought about that in terms of adding as much value to the customer as possible and pouring into them as much as you can because that will inherently help the business. It will help so many different things.
Mhm.
But I never heard it quite the way that you articulated it right now. So I like that a lot. Increase the
Good.
lifetime value of the value you're giving the customer.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's go into a quick closing lightning round. So I'll rattle off some questions at you. Don't think too much, just the first thing that comes to mind.
So like no 10-minute answers? Is that what you're saying? You telling me to shut up? No.
What's one tool or resource that's been a game changer for you in your company?
Chat GPT. And I could have picked Claude or Grok
Yeah,
or anything, but it's the idea of one of those. And I use the pro version.
yeah,
It
same.
pays for itself. If I would eat
Oh,
macaroni
that's a
before I would give
$200
that
a month,
a
right?
difference. I'm not paid by them. It's not a paid endorsement, but it has literally made my life better, and I can go on for hours about it. It's an
Yeah.
incredible any tool like that. If you prompt it well, you have to keep your own guardrails clear and your own intent clear. You can't rely on it. But as a thinking partner, it's accelerated my growth. For example, this turnaround that I did, 4 days from idea to finished paperwork. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
That
from
stuff
idea
took me.
to finished paperwork. Wow.
Now I did the thinking.
Yeah.
I sweated, I cried, I had a hard time, I struggled. But when I was ready to go, I was done.
Boom.
So it's such an accelerating, lovely feeling to be able to see what you think, communicate it to others so they see what you think too,
Mm.
is what I said. It clears that up so much. I love that.
I love chat so much. I use it for so many different things. And I actually just have the plus version because I
Mhm.
haven't been using the AI agents that they have quite yet, but I will. So thank you for pushing me to do that.
Yeah.
This is a funny story that I like to share when it comes to ChatGPT. I have this one chat that's all about my meal plans, my exercise, and my macros. Nice. So there was this one night, this was a couple weeks ago. So basically throughout the day, I'm like, okay, this is what I've eaten so far. And I already trained it, like it knows what kind of meals I like, what
Mhm.
my regimen typically looks like. So it knows if I'm going off the rails or not.
Mhm.
But one night I was like, I know I've already eaten this, and I'm talking to it like it's a therapist. I'm like, I know I've already eaten this, but I'm just really craving some Popeyes right now. Based off of what I have left in my macros, what's the best order that I can make? And it was like, get this, and I'm like, I was, it's so funny because I was looking at this. I was chilling with my friend. We were watching a movie. It was the weekend. And I clicked Uber Eats. I airplayed the movie onto the TV. And we just had this moment. And we're like, we live in a completely different world.
Oh yeah.
I just
Yeah.
talked to this AI thing. I clicked a couple buttons. Food's going to magically show up on my door. I just clicked another button. The movie is now playing on the big screen. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think we need to balance that out. I think we need more presence, more mindfulness as well, so that we don't think that automation is the end all be all of being
Yeah.
human. And I got to tell you, I think your version of Chat GPT conversation about your health and macros is a lot better than mine based on your bicep size. So yours is really working. I would count that.
I appreciate that. Are you familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza?
Oh,
Oh,
wait, what did he write or do?
so he wrote a bunch of books. He wrote one called Becoming Supernatural, You Are the Placebo, Breaking the Habit.
Somebody recommended him to me last week, and I watched 2 episodes on Gaia of it. It's
Nice.
fascinating
Nice.
stuff. Yeah.
Mind blowing. I would recommend you watch his 30-minute interview on impact theory. That's one of my favorite podcasts of his. It's also the
Mhm.
biggest one on impact theory. It's got tens of millions of views. But when you brought up the mindfulness piece and the presence piece, I am a huge believer in that. As I'm talking about technology and how much I love it, I have certain restrictions off on my laptop and my phone for specific apps. like social media, YouTube, all these different things. Because I do believe that while it's important to keep your ear to the ground and know what's going on, there's so much more to living a fulfilling life than sitting behind a screen. And
Mhm.
Dr. Joe just talks
Yeah.
about that a lot. And I believe in the power of meditation, the power of stilling the body and connecting yourself to your desired reality via your emotions. Because
Mhm.
I really do believe we live in three planes of existence: mental, spiritual, physical. And if we
Mhm.
can have all three of those align with whatever it is that we want in our lives, then we can shape our life in a beautiful way.
That's so cool. I don't want to say told you so or one up or anything like that, but what you're saying resonates with me so much, and it has for a while. One
Mm.
of our primary tools at Storyminers is Future Story. And it's
Mm.
where we do exactly that. We
I
get
love
people to forget all the stuff that's dragging them down. No, we don't have to have a measurement for it. No, we don't have to have a process plan for it. Just let yourself imagine, what would you like? What's your
that.
intent? What would work better for clients? And we frame that up as a story that is happening and working well in the future
Mm.
with all the dependencies set to on. Everything is just turned on. And then
Yeah.
they can see, oh, that's where we're going. Because most people create value because they've been hired to by saying no, by keeping things the same so the machine can keep running. That's the goal, is to keep everything the way it was, keep the monotony at full speed. But when you're trying to build something new, you've got to discard some of the old preconceptions. You've got to let go of some of the old ways of doing things. Now, you don't want to, you've heard the expression like change a wing on an airplane while it's flying. That's just goofy. There are ways to move from where you've been doing to where you are going. There's digital twin, a bunch of other things. But a future story is an introduction to just letting people believe that something new is possible. And that unleashes so much energy and innovation and collaboration. So I fully affirm what you're talking about.
I love that so much. So the people that are listening, for them to take that exercise, is it like you think of what you want in the future with zero limitations and not thinking about how, or what kind of steps
That's
would
it. I usually do that as a guided discussion. So I
you?
haven't turned that into a tool. Once I establish this platform for providing creative support for strategy, that will be one of the tools that we use so
That's
that more people can play faster. But right now, it's not in tool form. To
mhm.
just give blind instructions, I think would frustrate the heck out of a lot of people.
Fair
But
enough.
I will say that the trick is the very first step is to get people, no, that's a bad way to say it. A first step might be to check in with some of your peers or the people that you're working with, if they're clients or partners or whatever, to see if they'd be open to having a no holds barred conversation about what the future might be. So,
Mm.
first, ask permission,
Yeah.
and then ask what might going into the future and imagining things from there do for us.
Mm.
Get them to put their goals out there. That's where you can find out where the alignment is. That's the information I need as a consultant or as a coach to steer the conversation to get where they need it to go. And
Yeah.
then it's about how would you like that to be? Not what would you like the process to be or the cost or the services, but start with how would it feel?
Mm.
Because that gets you the experiential dimension. And when you can agree on the experience, that becomes your blueprint and all the details become evident. And then the process people on the bean counters, no offense intended, if you are one of those categories, can come in and add their kind of value. But when you're doing design, it's very hard to do it from a constraints first approach, which
Yeah.
is what process and counting are all about.
Yeah. I love that. Can I build upon what you just said a little
Please,
bit?
please. I'm
You
anxious to
mentioned
learn.
I love what you said about the feeling and how you stress that, because you're probably familiar with this, but for the listeners, there's two electromagnetic fields that we have in our bodies. We've got the brain's electromagnetic field, and then we've got the heart's electromagnetic field. Obviously, the brain's is associated with your thoughts. The heart is generally associated with your emotions. But what they've discovered is that the heart's electromagnetic field is 60 to 100 times greater than that of the brain's electromagnetic field. And this is how Dr. Joe Dispenza describes it. The thought is the electrical signal that sends out that intention into the universe. And then the emotion is the magnetic charge that pulls that event or pulls that situation into your life. So I love that you bring the feeling into the equation, because it's so powerful to getting to wherever we want, is already living in the emotions of our future selves that have already accomplished that. I
Mhm.
don't need to wait for XYZ to happen before I start feeling grateful, satisfied, joyful, love, all those different things. I can feel that now.
Yeah, yeah,
I can feel that now, and then take action in accordance.
that's beautiful. One of
Yeah.
the things that I'm so excited about going forward is that AI has, with its language parsing abilities, has the capability of looking at a bunch of different perspectives and bringing them all together.
Mm,
Can look at all of those at once. Most businesses try to squeeze one number. This is, again, a generalization, and I'm aware of what I'm saying. I'm trying to make a point. They try to squeeze one more number out of the bottom right side of a spreadsheet. How much more profit does it create for us?
yeah.
But in order to create more profit, you also have to create more value for people.
Mm,
And one of the ones that's harder for companies to do just because they haven't chosen to design for it is
mm,
to bring joy, to bring fulfillment, to bring a sense of history, to bring comfort, to bring more time, to bring more flexibility, blah, blah, blah. Our software can design for all of those things.
yeah.
Why don't we do it? Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Mike, this has been so fun. What,
Good. Same here.
yeah, what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Go to my website, www.storyminers.com. It's one word, Storyminers, storyminers.com, or look me up on LinkedIn and just mention the show when you reach out, and then I'll definitely connect. Mike
Awesome.
Wittenstein is Mike Wittenstein. There is another Mike Wittenstein, so remember this face. Looks like me, but better shaved.
There you go. Thank you so much for your time today. So that wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed, please don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you're a business owner and you're looking to scale your business and really enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.